Go.
The first thing I want you to understand is there is a falsity out in the world that says time heals all wounds. It's not true. As a matter of fact, what conflict research has proven is that silence tends to be taken as negative and make the wounds deeper. Think of it this way, like a broken bone in a body. Does time make that heal? Well, yes. However, it makes it heal to be dysfunctional and more painful. And then when you actually want to fix it, you've got to re-break it, which is more painful than if you would have fixed it in the first place. Damage between relationships is a lot like that. And just like you go to a doctor to help you fix your broken bones because you don't necessarily have the skill to do that yourself, you might consider hiring a reconciliation mediator to help you do the other skills I'm about to tell you about, because they are adrenaline skills that take time to develop. Yes, you can try them on your own, and there's a chance they will succeed. So the first thing, the next principle I want you to know is you can be right and still be wrong. I heard a great friend tell me that phrase when he was trying to, that he used when he was trying to teach a guy just out of college how to interact with the organization. And what that phrase points to, you can be right and to still be wrong, is that wanting to prove you are right in the middle of a conflict is, to a disagreement, what gasoline is to a fire. It causes more damage than it does good. The better approach is be curious. Want desperately to understand all the different perspectives that are coming in on your disagreement. Now, the way you're going to get to understand all those perspectives is the third thing I want you to know. You have to listen. Listening is very easy to say. It's very challenging to do. Let me tell you about a cool story when I first started learning this principle. I read in a book that when people don't feel heard, they often repeat themselves, and most often louder. It just so happened at that time I was trying to figure out what to do about my children. They were driving me nuts. They were sitting in the back of the car saying, "Daddy, look! Daddy, look! Daddy, look! Daddy, look!" And I was trying to figure out how to get them to sit quietly. And when I read that passage in the book, I realized, oh, my children are being loud because their father isn't listening. So I determined to try an experiment, and I was waiting. And one day, very soon after, Kirsten ran up to me, my middle daughter, and she said, "Daddy, look at my doll." And I turned around and said, "Oh, look, what a pretty doll." She said, "Yep," and ran away. I was so excited. It worked. Listening actually helped the other person calm. So once you have listened and you start understanding perspectives, what you're going to listen for, if you really want to bring resolution to this disagreement, is the fourth principle of conflict resolution. And that is, you can only change one person in this world. Most people enter a conflict trying to figure out how to get the other person to change. This is talking about the proverbial log in your eye rather than looking at the speck in the other person's eye. A way that was helpful for me to conceptualize this is the difference between fault and contribution. Most people walk around in this world looking for fault. Fault is, I did everything right, you did everything wrong. Because if I can prove fault, then I have nothing to change. Fault is rarely accurate. What is more accurate is contribution. What have I done to contribute to this challenge? And what have you done to contribute to this challenge? And then I work on fixing what I have done, because I can only change one person in this world. Which brings us to the fifth vital element of conflict resolution. there is something that heals wounds. It's forgiveness. Forgiveness heals wounds, not time. Once you know what your contribution is, now it's time to ask forgiveness for that contribution. And there are basically 5 elements of forgiveness. 1 is admit you did the thing. 2 is express regret. 3 is offer restitution. What can I do to make up for this? And the 4th is perhaps the most challenging element of forgiveness. It's giving the other person my plan to change so that I will never hurt them in this way again. And the 5th element of forgiveness, of asking for forgiveness, is just that. Will you forgive me? Now, there is another side of forgiveness, the responsibility of the person forgiving. And there are basically 3 steps to forgiving well. The first is decide in your heart that you will no longer bring up that offense and that you will work on believing that the person truly wants to change. The second element goes along with believing that the person wants to change, and that is risking trusting the person again and being very honest with the person about what you are and are not willing to do in rebuilding that trust. And the third element of giving forgiveness well is actually saying, I forgive you. I hope you realize these skills we just talked about are very challenging. They are packed with adrenaline. They're more challenging than climbing a 600-foot wall. They're more challenging than taking a raft over Niagara Falls, because the adrenaline, the fear that wells up as you're trying to do those skills, and your desire to defend yourself make them very challenging. And you can do it. They work. I'm rooting for you.